What if the horrors of Playtime Company weren't confined to just one factory? Chapter 5 of Poppy Playtime revealed shocking new locations, built just before the hour of joy, that could change everything we know about the future of the franchise. Today, we'll explore what these mysterious places are, why they might exist, and why they are almost certainly the settings for future Poppy Playtime spin-offs and sequels. During the latest chapter, we discovered a crucial lore note titled Shipping Manifest, July 95, dated just about a month before the catastrophic hour of joy. The document's description, a grand expression progresses slowly, hints at significant, yet troubled, undertakings. Within this manifest, we learn about a fascinating set of new projects Playtime Company was developing that month: Project Border Horizons, in the U.S., New Beginnings, for Asia, originally written in Japanese, and Project Garden World Play Park. However, the note also reveals that all these ambitious projects were falling drastically behind schedule. It reads, "Official note, team, we're on a rushed timetable here. Project Border Horizons, BH, is already 3 weeks behind schedule, and Play Park has needs we can't meet at current capacity. Overseas reps say their timetable is running behind. Keep overseas materials through 99.95 for safety. And remember to be delicate here. We don't want this to get on Rich's radar." The manifest also lists thousands of orders for equipment related to the cultivation and harvesting of poppy flowers. Essentially, Playtime Company was trying to ship a massive amount of poppy flower equipment as quickly as possible. These flowers, as you might know, were crucial for creating poppy gel, a substance with restorative properties believed to be capable of resurrecting the dead. This process was fundamental to how the experiments, infused with organic body parts, were brought to life. This is a massive revelation, especially since the factory shut down a month later during the hour of joy. A subsequent note even describes someone finding these exact items still in storage, implying they never made it out. Regardless, Playtime Company was clearly attempting to ship everything needed to create experiments at other locations, suggesting that collaborative facilities might have continued running experiments even after the hour of joy. Specifically, the notes mention an unnamed overseas location in Asia and a place called the Play Park, which we've actually heard about before. As far back as Chapter 3, posters for this very park appeared, featuring the slogan, "Treat yourself at Playtime's new park," depicting a theme park built separately from the factory. We also saw Preston Willard inspecting the park in the orientation notebook back in March 1995. As mentioned, despite their ultimate failure, it's clear they were rushing to build and ship out all this equipment just before the hour of joy. But why the urgency? The note's critical detail is the instruction to be delicate to avoid getting on Rich's radar. Rich Levitz, introduced in the first 4 chapters, was initially an angry employee, critical of the factory's flaws, especially the questionable practices at the Playcare orphanage. He eventually rose through the ranks, given a chance by Stewart, the head of shipping, who later retired and passed his role to Rich. This transformation saw him mature and become idolized by other employees for his journey from the bottom to the top. Despite his ascent, Rich remained true to his morals, openly criticizing the company while championing the cause of the lower-level employees. While this earned him love for his honesty and compassion from the workforce, the higher-ups seemed to despise him for it. A cassette tape found earlier in the chapter captures a conversation between Eddie Ritterman, the head of research, and Leith Pierre, the head of innovation, discussing the problems caused by Rich's popularity among employees. Leith expresses concern, "He's becoming some sort of people's champion now. Too many noses are sniffing around." Eddie, however, proposes a cunning solution: "If we deal with this now, we'll make him a martyr. Not if we deal with it the right way. I think Mr. Levitz is due for a promotion." Leith's disbelief is met with Eddie's explanation: "He can't be the people's champion if he's one of us. Up his pay, his title, new parking spot, give him a new car, too. Let everyone think he sold his soul." Essentially, Rich's status as a people's champion was seemingly leading more employees to investigate the factory's questionable practices, posing a significant risk to the company's reputation if they uncovered anything. Worse, they couldn't simply silence him like they might other lower-level employees, as his mysterious death would only heighten suspicion. Their goal, therefore, was to promote Rich to a higher position within Playtime Company, hoping people would view him as a sellout and distrust his words. This explains why they wanted to hide these expansion plans from Rich. If he discovered the factory was attempting to expand operations beyond its isolated confines, he could speak out against it. As the head of shipping, he could even potentially halt the shipment of all this crucial equipment to the new locations, which, as we know, never shipped out. This raises the intriguing possibility that Rich might have been the one to prevent these shipments. The tape continues, revealing more about their plans for these new locations. Eddie reassures Leith, urging him to focus on the bigger picture. Our friends in Tokyo are coming up to speed. At this rate, this factory won't even be our main focus in a few short years. He then mentions, the park renovations are underway. I'll be inspecting the premises next week, 7th to the 12th. I trust you won't burn this place down in my absence. Leith, with a touch of dark humor, responds, I'll do my best, though. I won't lie. This place is feeling more like a powder keg every day. Once again, they mention the Asian location, this time specifically stating it was being built in Tokyo, Japan, and they discuss the park, which was undergoing renovations. From their conversation, particularly Leith's uncertainty, it seems clear that even the higher-ups in the factory sensed the impending doom right before the hour of joy. Eddie even had to calm Leith down by suggesting the factory wouldn't be their main focus in a few short years. This strongly suggests that the rapid expansion was a desperate attempt to establish new operational bases before the inevitable catastrophe at the main factory, a catastrophe that, as we know, would tragically unfold during the hour of joy, claiming the lives of nearly everyone, or at least 99% of the personnel perished. Crucially, Eddie mentions to Leith in this tape that he was leaving the Playtime factory from the 7th to the 12th of the month to inspect the renovations at Playtime Park. The cassette tape's title confirms it took place in August 1995, the very month of the Hour of Joy, which occurred on the 8th, the day after Eddie left for his trip to Play Park. This confirms that Eddie must have been a survivor of the Hour of Joy, simply because he wasn't there. This has immense implications, especially concerning the theory that Eddie could be the player, given that they are among the very few, if not the only, known survivors. Delving further into these new locations, I believe this is a clear setup for future game settings after the main Poppy Playtime storyline concludes. We already know that a game based on Play Park was, at some point, in the works, as the developers last year trademarked the name, Poppy Play Park. I sincerely hope they still pursue this, as it would be incredible to explore this park location, even as a spin-off. This seems highly plausible, especially if they manage to transfer some experiments there, much like Huggy Wuggy was displayed in the factory lobby as a tourist attraction. As for the Tokyo location, I'm speculating here, but I think, or at least hope, this would make a perfect full-blown Poppy Playtime sequel. While we've learned a lot about the characters, experiments, and employees of the original Playtime Company, the main series is at a point where Mob Games is looking to introduce new characters. However, late-game additions often rely on obscure, failed toy lines or characters that retroactively appear in later chapters, potentially straining continuity. But if we were to have a new factory in Japan, created almost simultaneously with the closure of the first, it could allow us to explore a place with an entirely different cultural design, more modern technology, and thus, all sorts of fresh gameplay possibilities, presumably with completely new characters and experiments effectively continuing Playtime Company's legacy. While admittedly similar to what FNAF has done over its nearly 12-year run, I still believe this is the perfect way to continue the series. However, a couple of significant mysteries remain. Firstly, since they seemingly never managed to send the poppy flowers to the Japanese location or their other intended destinations, it's unclear if these facilities could independently create experiments without this specialized equipment. Although, with Eddie surviving, it's possible he could have aided them in their experiment creation. Secondly, Eddie himself faces a challenge, Another document in Chapter 5 describes him as having a neurodegenerative disorder known as Kennedy's disease, causing muscle weakness and nearly collapsing. While not typically fatal, this condition could severely limit his capacity for work. Finally, the purpose of Project Border Horizons is never explicitly mentioned. Its purpose remains an open question, leaving us to wonder if it was an expansion of the original factory or a completely separate facility in America.